Okay, good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the County of Sullivan IDA meeting November 18th, order. Julio, can we have roll call?
Mr. Siegel.
Present.
Siegel present, Ms. Lara.
Present.
Ms. Lara's present, Ms. Wright.
Here.
Present, Mr. Smith.
Here.
Present, Mr. Tyler.
Here.
Mr. Tyler present, Mr. Gunther, Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Below, Mr. Flex, Mr.
Okay. Did everyone get a chance to read the meeting minutes of October 21? Entertain a motion if you want any changes.
I'll make a motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Kathleen Scott? Any opposed? Okay, that's carried. Bills and communication. So, our bills, I have one, I have this. Are there any changes?
Yes, there was one, bill added, routine bureau, for the Buncombe County Court, in the amount of $4,210, which brings our total now to $21,890.67.
Okay, entertain a motion to accept the bills as stated. Carol? Scott? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's carried. Staff report. Any thoughts? Anybody have any questions? Ari, you want to just tell us a little bit about what's going on? Brief.
Things have been a little slow. Some of the municipalities are having issues with water and sewer, which is full for, Liberty, for example. As everybody knows, Liberty got that $20 million, for infrastructure. Hopefully that'll be utilized for the Old 17 corridor for warehouse space, which the partnership has been working on. We're possibly having a meeting to discuss, as you know, the legislature is looking to do housing and, to come up with, have to do something else with that. The meeting proposed.
Are there any inquiries that happen? I mean, is there on a day-to-day basis, is it just super quiet, nobody looking to develop?
There were a couple things, that didn't materialize because of, here again, utilities.
Yeah.
But
There's nothing we can do by utilities, that's obviously way above our pay grade, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not necessarily a negative right now because there's still a tremendous workforce shortage. So when we approve something new, people leave a job and somebody that we approved 6 years ago with no employees. So until we figure out how to create a workforce, we've been working on it for 25 years unsuccessfully.
Okay. So that,
Can I mention an update?
I'd like to.
Sure. We've been approached on the housing side by a prospective buyer of two different, what I would call subsidized housing projects. We've done a few of those for senior housing for John Mendelbaum projects. There's mid-rise building in Liberty. Mid-rise to me is you have to have an elevator more than 2 stories. It's on the corner of Main Street and where you turn to go to the high school. On the left corner, sort of across from where Dairy Queen used to be or whatever it was, Dairy King, whatever it was. And also in Loch Sheldrake, near Loch Sheldrake Lake, off of the road that goes to Stage Door Manor. There's a driveway unmarked off that goes to some housing units. They're both owned by an owner right now who's under a lot of pressure from both the feds and New York State to upgrade the property. They don't have money to upgrade the property, so the properties are super energy and efficient, built almost 30 years ago with all kinds of, uninsulated windows and the like. There is a buyer. The buyer has expressed interest. They have an option and they would like IDA to consider potentially some financial assistance in terms of sales tax abatement to fix them up and real estate tax abatement going forward. One is limited in terms of occupancy by age and income, and one is just income limited. They both are I think, a lot of Section 8 units in both. I don't know whether it's something that the board generally wants to get involved in or not. It's putting our toe in the water in terms of housing, which seems to be the direction the legislature would like.
And they're presently occupied.
They're both fully occupied with wait lists, but the conditions apparently, they sent me some pictures. I mean, they look like 30-year-old.
I know the Liberty one, I'm not familiar with the.
Sheldrake one is, I can pull up a map for you. It's by, when you go to Loch Sheldrake, the Stage Door Manor Road.
Yep.
There's a driveway off on the right-hand side of that.
Okay.
You wouldn't know it's even there. It's kind of not visible from anywhere, and it's not right on the lake. It's between the Stage Door Manor Road and the lake. And that one is, I think both of them, I don't have any rent records and didn't ask, but I would be surprised if they weren't mostly Section 8.
Which I would not be in favor of on new. I mean, existing, if we're gonna make people safer, I can understand it. But it's not workforce housing, so,
Right.
you know, so.
Well, some people on Section 8 work, I don't know whether it's workforce housing or not, but it's also not new units, so the question, I think, before us is, do we assist? Because this buyer has looked at what the tax costs would be for real estate taxes. They're both under local benefit agreements now. And they
What does
can't.
that mean?
There was a period of time where under certain federal and state programs, you could do an HCBA, a post-community benefit agreement. And the local community could give you a tax.
So they have that.
On the Liberty one, I think there's 3 years to go. On the Fallsburg one, I think it's running out.
So,
We were proposing to have a meeting with them next Wednesday, which is not going to happen, just as a result of Thanksgiving schedules, but,
so nothing really changes. In other words, we're just carrying forward what's existing.
correct.
And then we're enhancing the property, so that's safe for the people to live in. So it's kind of a no-brainer.
So they're also getting some energy grants because the properties were built in an era when energy was cheap. And nobody seemed to care.
Right.
But this is actually a positive in the end. It's not, no, we're not taking a flyer, we're fixing up something that exists.
But it's not new housing either.
Right, so that's just,
People living there, it's not doing anything to solve the housing crisis.
right, but we're not doing anything really for them that isn't already in place.
I mean, it's a policy question for the board. I mean, it would be a deviation from our UTAP, right? And if there was time left, it could be complicated. The one in Liberty could be complicated because there's 3 years, I believe, left on an HCBA where the village is taking all the money and not distributing any. So the county, town, and school are probably getting nothing. And you can't collect a pilot payment without dispersing it based upon the tax wheel, without the consent of the taxing jurisdictions that you're not going to provide money to. They might be willing, since they're getting nothing now, to say it's okay for another 3 years. You would have to see. So what do we do, I guess, is the question.
I'm on the fence, so.
Well, you still have to meet with them, right?
Right.
Yeah, but I don't want to spend a lot of time preparing to meet with them if the answer is going to be no. I mean, we know at this point what we have. We have projects that need substantial maintenance. They found somebody who can finance that maintenance and knows how to get grants on the energy side, but can't afford to do it if they're going to end up being full real estate taxes based upon their current values.
So we do have something we can do, but no one else can do.
That's correct.
And I like the idea that they're looking at grants because all of this sounds like something the state should absolutely be stepping in to help.
Their incentives and.
Right.
And
So maybe if they came to the table
Lower
and said,
loans.
here's what we've done, here's, you know what I mean, then we're presented it to us that way.
I just wanted to know that there was some level of interest before we took that step, because I wouldn't want to ask them to prepare something
Yeah.
for no reason.
and those conditions are causing all of their expenses to be higher. We need to be an investment in energy efficiency.
Well, what happens if,
running costs.
what happens if we do nothing? In other words, are they in jeopardy of closing?
I don't know that. I've never seen, I've seen landlords that are in these programs get fined, you know, have to pay penalties, but I haven't experienced any of them closing. I don't know what everybody else has experienced.
There's some local developments that the AG's office has been all over and it takes time to accomplish it.
Sure.
And then another one not far from that one.
No, exactly. And we're
Yeah,
talking
and-
about, you know, from my standpoint, if it was new housing that was likely to become Section 8 housing to create more social services costs for a county, I might feel different about it than somebody who lives in an apartment with a 30-year-old refrigerator getting a new refrigerator. They're proposing to upgrade the kitchens, the bathrooms, the energy efficiency. Those are the three things that are planned.
Well, usually goes with those bad energy efficiency and bad construction is poor health outcomes. Those people- Conditions,
Electrical fire,
Something I
you
never
can have
thought
a whole thing too.
mold,
Okay. I mean, those
mold's
are
a
all,
big thing.
they're there, they exist. It's not something where we're, you know, creating more. It might, you might be right. It may it may reduce social services costs
Well,
when you take into account healthcare
if
costs.
those people get, and if those people get healthier, they might be better for the work. And the kids.
So it's everybody's thought to just take it one more step forward? Is that what you're asking Walter to do?
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to continue to engage with them if it's, I've told them that it doesn't fit in our UTEP, it would be a deviation, and, you know, the part in Liberty is complicated, because in order to only pay a pilot payment to the village, we have to have the consent of the county town and school.
Or it may work out if they were getting the same money they're getting now, maybe, you know, with the new, since it's gonna, you know, creating the pilot, that it would work out.
Well, you're saying the
Well,
next,
if
the
if we
next,
create a pilot, the village is gonna get a lot less money, because they're taking it all.
right, exactly. Are they gonna wait 3 years? But if we do it now, then they would start now versus 3 years out.
Well, typically, the way you would structure it, where you have a tail of a HCBA, is you would go to the local taxing jurisdictions and get consent and continue the existing framework till the HCBA ends, and then put them in a pilot. You wouldn't want the fact that you have a village that's taken it all to be a reason the building doesn't get fixed up.
Yeah, and I think the village obviously
my
needs
point.
to also realize that what they're doing isn't legal.
Well, it's
And sorry, that meeting
It's
is not
legal.
right. How's that?
It's not more, it's not,
It's totally legal. That's why they got
Not
rid of that
ethical.
program. The reason that program went away is because people weren't sharing.
I know the village is having a hard time, but they are very good, with their tax collection, but I know that they're having a hard time with people not paying. But
the
That doesn't
county, how's
mean
the
we
county doing?
we don't collect for them any, we don't.
No,
get
I'm saying,
a-
how's the county doing in totality as far as collecting?
Well,
Are you having a hard time?
sort of. So I won't go up too long, but real property tax law changed a lot last year. So one of the big things the county did and with the state's blessing is we no longer allow tax installment agreements on commercial properties, which is interesting because all these commercial properties, the Fallsburg Estates just called me today, which is surprising. And what was happening is we're financing these big commercial properties, which we should not be doing anymore. And we thought that would see a lot more stumbling. And instead they're saying, oh, I can't go into agreement. Okay, I'll just pay the taxes. And they're paying. So really what we're getting now is the people who aren't paying their taxes are people who really can't pay their taxes. So it's interesting. We'll see.
The other thing is the building department may be busy, let's say in Liberty, keep on going, then your building inspector there, because all of the lights, maybe a pain in the neck for them too.
Yeah,
So fixing it up may take pressure off.
it gives them a little contract. I need to know,
Yeah.
one more step. Can we need to open up some bank accounts?
Yes, so we have to close our accounts at Catskill Hudson because their new structure pending their acquisition doesn't allow them to service our accounts there. So we hold several sales tax escrow accounts at Catskill Hudson. And we would like to Obviously, we have to close them and move them over to Jet Bank. So we need the minutes to reflect that the board has authorized the opening of these new accounts. And I will identify them for the minutes. So they would be Barrier Lifestyle Inc., Catskill Hospitality Holding and Catskill Hospitality Operating, Amitra Development, Bay Hospitality Catskills, the MEP Wholesalers and Givers Estates LLC project, and I can tell you more about these if you have questions. The Maud Crawford Realty and Bridgeville Ski Company project, Mountain Kosher Grocery, and Monticello Industrial Park. Some of these are already substantially built out, and we would like to return those sales tax escrow funds in the near future. But there are some for which we might want to do an audit or we're not quite ready to release their funds back to them yet.
So all you need is a motion, a second, and a vote, right?
Yes.
We don't need a formal resolution.
That's right.
All right, so who would like to make a motion? Do it. Scott, second, Carol. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that's carried.
I have one more small banking thing, which is that we're also working to return escrow funds to projects that have been completed. We were gonna put them on the payment schedule for this month, but there's interest that's still accruing. So what I'd like to do, these are not our monies, these are project monies that we want to return to them. We'd like to do it by the end of the year to wrap it up before the audit. So what I'd like to do is put them, once we know the exact penny figures that we're returning, we'll put them on the middle section of next month's payment schedule. So they will have been already paid, or checks will at least have been cut. We'll do that through our usual between meeting process. But I just wanted to mention that to you. We don't have the penny figures right now, but we'll get that done in the next couple weeks.
Good, perfect. Anybody else have anything else? Anybody else have anything else? Sullivan?
Need to move to the executive session.
To this,
Pending litigation relating to Sullivan County Community College Dormitory Corporation and the financial affairs of a certain person or corporation.
perfect.
Like it's done
I need a
very
motion.
Without Kenny here, I
All right.
don't know.
Carol made the
Second.
motion and Kathleen second.